Hello, everybody, and we are back. We're talking about sequencing in how practice makes perfect in your sales process. So, Greg, sequencing into the sale. What do you mean by sequencing into the sale? What does that entail?
So basically what you want to do is you want to think about from the very first touch that you have with the client or the patient all the way to the very last product you have to offer.
Yeah.
And so sequencing is having a logical way of asking questions that gets a bunch of small yeses along the way so that you can get them to say yes to bigger offerings. And so when you're sequencing or creating your sequencing, what you essentially want to do is you want to make sure that you have it documented, you have it rehearsed, and you start to role play, which is something we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But a big role or a big factor in making sure that your sequencing works is look at your past successes and document those and see what has worked for you in order to get those people to go from seeing your ad one time or seeing you in a newspaper or whatever to actually paying you to then being a lifetime customer, and then just document the whole process and then do that and then always optimize and go, is this step needed? Maybe it's not needed, or what am I missing in this step?
Yeah.
And it's all about, it goes back to questions.
It does.
Sequencing is about asking the questions to lead up to the sale.
It's amazing how those things keep coming back, right? So asking the right questions, looking at your patient journey and saying, okay, how do I help them through my questions have that series of yeses so that you lead them down the journey you want to help them. Again, the whole point is not to be the sleazy salesman, but it's helping them be able to make the right decisions to get to where they need to go to benefit their health.
Exactly.
And so sometimes we get in our own way. And by helping ask the right questions, you can resolve their concerns, you can move them along with those series of yeses. And I love that concept. Help them say a series of yeses.
Yep. You got to get them to, you have to set the environment, the tone, and the way to do that is asking questions. Also, revealing what your goals are, right? So something that most customers are not used to is a salesperson or someone trying to sell them something actually tell them that they are.
Yeah.
By saying,
That's
look,
true.
I'm here to sell you on the reason why this is going to benefit you.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'm going to try to figure out why you're in pain or why this isn't working for you. And then I'm going to keep asking more questions so I can see what the true problems are. So then I can give you an offering of this is what I think is going to work.
Right.
If you want to do it, great. And if you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
But my goal is to sell you on this solution of the service because I know for a fact that I can help you out.
Right. Oh, it's so much in life is just about managing expectations. If you can help them understand that, it's going to have to be an exchange of money for services at the end of this process, but I can help you get to your goal, and you can just set that as the expectation from the very beginning of like, I'm not cheap because I provide a valuable service, but you're going to want that service, and here's how we go about it. If you can set that expectation and then manage those expectations, people are willing to go along with that. People want to be sold. They just want to make sure that they're confident in what they're buying.
Exactly. And the other thing too is you can actually do a lot of harm by giving people the surprise sale, which is maybe they think either you're significantly cheaper or you're not actually selling them right now, or maybe even worse, that it's free.
Yeah.
And you go through this whole process, and then at the end you give them a surprise sale, like, oh, by the way, I'm selling you. Sometimes that leaves a bad taste in their mouth. It's not because they're not willing or wanting to buy. It's because you haven't explained to them that the purpose of the meeting today is I would like you to be a customer or a client or a patient or whatever.
Yeah.
By just putting that out there, it kind of throws people off. It's like, whoa, that's the most honesty I've heard in a while as far as intention, like what someone's intention is. It's very rare that someone actually brings that up. So when you do it, it kind of sets that tone.
Oh, I love that. And honestly, from a healthcare perspective, why is that a bad thing to say from the very get-go? Like, I would like for this to be a long-term relationship between you and I, where I can be that person for you that helps get you over all the different roadblocks in your health.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a consumer, if somebody was like, whoa, he's invested in
Yeah.
me. He wants me to succeed. He wants me to be healthy. I think, who wouldn't want that out of their healthcare practitioner or, anybody that's in some kind of service position, if they started out the conversation that way of saying, I would love long-term to be your solution
Yeah.
for health and wellness, like, yeah, I want you to be too.
And I can't remember the study, but there was a study that said most customers don't leave their providers or whoever they're doing business with
Yeah.
because they're dissatisfied. They usually leave because they're ignored.
Mhm.
And a lot of that has to do with no communication of saying, like, just your mindset. You'll treat someone different when you say, I want you to be a long-term
Yeah.
client or patient.
Yeah, so
customer.
true.
You behave differently when you set the tone that way versus like, yeah, let's just get a quick sale right now, and then, we'll see if they stick around.
Yeah.
It'll show in your actions. And so by setting that tone, it also helps you be in the mindset of, how can I continuously provide value for this person?
Right. How do I set up everything I do or say for the long-term game plan
Yep.
instead of, man, I hope they really buy today,
Yep.
right? Instead, it's like, how do I be what they need me to be for next month,
Yep.
next year, their whole life?
Yep.
If I can set that up in my own mind from the beginning, it helps me in my interaction
Exactly.
with them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. I love that so much. So sequencing the sale, you've got to start from the very beginning, from the very first interaction. Think about the questions you've got to ask and work your way through that entire sales process through the entire customer journey. If you can work that out and then practice that presentation and practice, it's going to benefit you so much. Okay. So that being said, our next topic, we're going to talk about how to practice. One of the biggest keys in how to practice is role playing. So we're going to hit that next. Join us in that video. Excited to have you in there.